Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter.
It's time we rise up and demand justice.
Right now.
We must do the work required to dismantle cisgendered privilege.
Those heterosexual.
Those straight people.
We must defund the police, and our white allies will lobby Congress to disarm every American, so we are no longer shot by the police. And once we remove every Confederate statue and piece of history we don't like, all white people must kill themselves.
I was not expecting that.
Their whiteness makes them the cornerstone of systematic racism. So we ask all white allies to use your privilege and sacrifice yourself for the greater good.
No. I like white people. They got the best customer service.
Then we take over city blocks and declare them communist utopias.
What does that have to do with
Everything is
black
free.
people?
Everyone works for the government. Everyone pays a carbon tax. Absolutely no borders. No private property. Yes. Joseph Stalin. Yes. Lenin. Marxism.
It's Lucy and Jeff going for walks and talk about banksters and Bitcoin and the apocalypse and stuff. It's Lucy and Jeff and tacos and kisses.
How you doing today, Lucy? Oh, pretty good. We've had lots of good sleeps and lots of tacos and kisses. And we're getting out for the walk and talk before this big storm comes. So let's keep going. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it, but some major thunder going on here. And trying to get out. It is Sunday, but there's so much stuff going on that I wanted to get out and do this before this big storm hits. We'll see how far we make it through. And in our intro video there, you might think, well, that's a bit of an exaggeration that this whole Black Lives movement's been totally sort of co-opted, or actually from the beginning was sort of this communist revolution sort of hidden meaning. Well, it's not an exaggeration.
So fuck Trump, fuck that law, fuck your fucking Independence Day. We need a revolution in order to overthrow this system, bring a whole new communist world into being that can actually ensure the rights of black and brown people. And whether or not you fucking agree, or if you still are caught up in this electoral politics bullshit, even if you are, even your hopes for a more progressive or liberal agenda are not gonna happen while the second president of the Confederacy is in the White House. Let's work together to tear that fucking statue down.
Revolution, nothing less.
Where can I reach out to you at?
Yo, so you can catch us at the RevComs?
Yeah, so when is this communism idea ever gonna go away? Have these people not even ever looked into any of the history of communism? It's always a history of death and destruction, and they almost always put up walls around any area that's communist so people can't escape. Sort of like what Donald Trump's even doing right now with putting up 200 high-tech towers for a virtual border wall. I've said it before, and it's already started to become true, with Americans barely allowed to even leave at the moment. that wall will be to keep Americans in. But if these people not even, why don't they just all move to Cuba? It's right there. You can take like a jet ski from Miami to Cuba pretty quick. Go check it out. Why don't you just go live there? It's pretty much full communism, and it sucks. In fact, it looks like even this latest COVID hoax is making it even worse in Cuba. I've heard they're running out of food and stuff, which is par for the course. Same with Venezuela. Go ask any Venezuelans how much they like the communism. So many of them have been trying to escape to Colombia. But of course, these kids have been brainwashed for their entire lives into believing that in the schools, in government indoctrination camps, and the colleges, Why didn't they go live in Chaz? Chaz ran out of food in the first couple days, and they just started extorting and killing everybody. That was just a couple days. But we are in a bit of a time of people waking up a little bit. But many people don't know what the problem is. So obviously people like this seem to think that the problem is US style capitalism and that communism is way better. Obviously it isn't, but capitalism in the US isn't even capitalism. Oh, we got a few raindrops here. See how fast we can make it through this. But one of my favorite authors is Osho, and he wrote this: "No society wants you to become wise. It is against the investment of all societies. If people are wise, they cannot be exploited. If they are intelligent, they cannot be subjugated. They cannot be forced into a mechanical life to live like robots. They will assert themselves. They will assert their individuality. They will have the fragrance of a rebellion around them. They will want to live in freedom. Freedom comes with wisdom intrinsically. They are inseparable, and no society wants people to be free. The communist society, the fascist society, the capitalist society, I'll get to that in a second, the Hindu, the Mohammedan, the Christian, no society likes people to use their own intelligence, because the moment they start using their intelligence, they become dangerous. Dangerous to the establishment, dangerous to the people who are in power, dangerous to the haves, dangerous to all kinds of oppression, exploitation, suppression, dangerous to the churches, dangerous to the states, dangerous to the nations. In fact, a wise man is a fire, alive, a flame. He would like rather to die than to be enslaved. Death will not matter much to him, but he cannot sell his life to all kinds of stupidities, to all kinds of stupid people. He cannot serve them." I would just mention, when he's mentioning capitalist societies, what he's kind of saying there is societies that aren't free market necessarily, but have some capitalism, but it's all protected by the government. It's kind of like fascism. It's basically what you have in the US today is a mix between fascism and communism. He also mentioned Christian societies, and there I think he's more talking about the church or a actual organized religion, as opposed to someone who just tries to live the way Jesus did. And I think in most ways, he's totally right. And we'll get into near the end here, the only way that a society can actually really be beneficial to all people. I'll get into that near the end. It's actually very simple, but most people don't even know about it. And that's on purpose. But before we get into that, Max Egan's latest video was great. He really went off in the video. The video is called "Social Distancing and Lockdown is Bogus. Who says asymptomatic are not infectious?" And in the video, Max didn't hold back.
On the 4th of June this year, the WHO openly stated that asymptomatic coronavirus carriers are not infectious. And yet just the other day we've seen the bucket of slime masquerading as a politician, the Premier of Victoria, Daniel Andrews, this man who looks like a toad. It's unbelievable that he could even hold his hair up with the amount of hair oil he seems to wear in that fucking thing he calls a head. This fucking parasitic piece of shit has just locked down 2 entire suburbs, 9 apartment blocks full of low-income earners, people on public housing. Over 3,000 people he's just basically put under house arrest for a so-called virus which cannot be spread by asymptomatic carriers. So he's basically just locked 3,000 people down for no reason at all. Well, there is a reason. It's because, Daniel Andrews, you're a cunt. That's why you've done it, isn't it? You're a lying cunt. The same as all of the media in this country. The media, these parasites in the media that have been failing to bring the information to the people and just been pushing this lie. Why has not one media outlet in this country spoken about the fact that the WHO said that asymptomatic carriers will not transmit this so-called infection? Why hasn't any of the truth come out? Why hasn't the media been reporting anything about the truth? Why isn't there any journalism in this country? Now, what needs to happen here, Daniel Andrews needs to be arrested, he needs to be taken out the back of the building, and needs to be hung for treason. Every politician in this country needs to be arrested and hung for treason. And all of these brain-dead 1.0 IQ'd morons dressed like Batman parading around in Victoria, keeping people under house arrests, need to pull their heads out of their arseholes and go and arrest the government. Grow a fucking brain and learn how to think. Because this country is going down the tube. You know, the whole world is turning into the Gaza Strip, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I said years ago, if we do not pay attention to the war crime that is Palestine, then the way of Palestine will be the way of the world. And that is what is happening right now. Every one of the people that's locked down in these apartment buildings in Victoria, ring up the Premier's office and ask him to show cause why he shouldn't be arrested. Ask him to explain why the place has been put under lockdown when the WHO announced on the 4th of June that asymptomatic carriers will not spread this virus. There's no proof that anyone's even died of coronavirus, folks, because the tests are so bogus. There's a doctor that's offering $5,000 to anybody who can show him a diagnosis of COVID because the tests don't work. And they've locked down this entire 2 suburbs, 3,000 people, 9 housing blocks. How fucking dare you? How dare you, you mindless maggot? And ScoMo, you fucking bucket of shit, stand up and do something, or go and walk out of that fucking office and give it to someone with a little bit of competence. All this posturing and bullshit you're doing with China, all this crap you people have set up. It's such a frickin' scam. Yeah, but I woke up this morning, folks, and I saw the news, and I saw how this has actually been out there since June the 4th. And I just thought, fuck this shit. You know, the gloves have got to come off, and I'm sick of being nice about it. You know, I've been nice and politely trying to ask people to wake the fuck up for years now. And this is what it's come to.
Yeah, you showed a lot of anger and passion there. And I don't really ever get that angry. I don't know what it is about me, but I can kind of just, like I do, when I look at the way the world is and how many people are hurt, it is very hard on me. But you don't really see me get angry like Max. I don't know why that is. I can though. One time someone touched my daughter. Like I got a call that some man was like beat up my daughter or something. Turned out to be a little bit over exaggerated. She was fooling around in the store and he sprayed her with a spray bottle of water. But yeah, I almost killed him. So yeah, I can do it, but I have to kind of be right in front of it. Hola. Oh, qué lindo. Muy bien, Lucy.
¿Sí? ¿Se puede?
Ah, sí, todo bien. Muy bien, Lucy. It's okay, Lucy. Vamos. Adios. Or if someone ever hurt Lucy. But when it comes to the big, well, it's starting to rain now. When it comes to the big issues that is not right in front of me, I just don't have that capability to respond that angrily. But I do agree with Max's anger there. And it deserves that kind of anger, what's going on. And in that video, he actually had from the WHO their latest information.
From the data we have, it still seems to be rare that an asymptomatic person actually transmits onward to a secondary individual.
Still didn't quite get that, but Dr. Samadi went to medical school. He's been listening to doctors all of his life. Doctor, I believe the headline from the World Health Organization is asymptomatic people are not infectious. They're not going to spread the disease. Is that what the WHO is saying?
Yes, that's correct, Greg.
Okay, so the WHO now says asymptomatic people, there's no evidence of them ever transmitting anything. Well, that's the whole point of this social distancing and the face masks that almost everyone in the world is happily wearing. But you don't hear any of that talked about on the news. It's strange. It's like there's some sort of agenda. And there's a Stanford doctor who, here's an article that says the COVID fatality rate for people under 45 is almost 0%. It says the death rate in a given country depends a lot on the age structure, who are the people infected, and how they are managed, Ioannidis said. For people younger than 45, the infection fatality rate is almost 0%. For 45 to 70, it is probably about 0.05 to 0.3%. For those above 70, it escalates substantially. Yeah, above 70, people die a lot more. Well, we better shut down the whole world. Just unbelievable. But we are staying. Lucy, Ben? Here comes the car. Lucy? Yep. All right, that's my girl. Muy bien, Lucy. Muy bien. There's actually a lot of people waking up, though. So yesterday I was a little bit kind of a Debbie Downer. I really didn't see much hope. I'm a little bit more optimistic today. You know, I have moods just like everyone else. I have, you know, when you see nothing but crap all day, you're not very optimistic. And then when you have days where you see some people really speaking out, it gives you some hope. And there's been a bunch just in the last couple of days. Belarus, which never shut down, they actually did everything just as normal. It's in basically Europe. And the Belarusian president said that, I think at one point he said to get rid of any sort of virus, you just drink beer or vodka, I believe. They had full soccer matches with full crowds. There's been no problems in Belarus. What a huge surprise.
Чаще мойте руки, вовремя завтракайте, обедайте и ужинайте. Ну, я человек не пьющий, но в последнее время в шутку говорю, что водкой надо не только руки мыть, но, наверное, и в день 40-50 грамм в пересчете на чистый спирт травить этот вирус. Но не на работе. Я желаю вам успехов. Здоровья, не болейте. Сегодня сходите в сауну сухую. Ну, если 2-3 раза в неделю, тоже полезно. Китайцы нам подсказали, что этот вирус при плюс 60 не выдерживает.
Here's an article. The Belarus president warns the global elites using COVID-19 crisis to try to reshape the world order. So there's another potential president to watch out for him feeling a little suicidal. But it's good to see. And even Louis Farrakhan, who I have to admit I don't know a ton about. I know he's got quite a history. I really don't know a heck of a lot about him. I never really looked into him much, but I really liked what he said here.
Say to the African presidents, yes, sir, do not take their medications. Right. I say to those of us in America, we need to call a meeting of our skilled virologists, epidemiologists, students of biology and chemistry. And we need to look at not only what they give us, we need to give ourselves something better. Yes, sir. So my teacher told me, don't speak for some, speak for the whole. And now I'm speaking for Black America, for Hispanic America, for the Native American and for those who are desirous of life. They're making money now, plotting to give 7,500,000,000 people a vaccination. Dr. Fauci, Bill Gates and Melinda, you want to depopulate the earth. What the hell gives you that right? Who are you to sit down with your billions and talk about who can live and who should die? That's why your world is coming to an end quickly, because you have sentenced billions to death, but God is now sentencing you to the death that you are sentencing to others.
Meanwhile, back in the USSA, where so many people are mesmerized by the television programming, including the Communist News Network, CNN, they're just freaking out. For example, in England, and I've heard this from a number of people in England, I've heard that there's definitely a lot of brainwashed people who watch their British Broadcasting Brainwashing Corporation propaganda, but I've heard a lot of people, oh, it's starting to rain now. I'm sorry, Lucy. It's not too bad yet. Hopefully, if it really starts to rain, we're gonna have to run. Watch out for the motorcycle, Lucy. Hey, my girl. Muy bien. Muy bien. Shake off the rain, we're almost back. I've heard a lot of people saying, even in the US as well, by the way, that a lot of people just don't listen to what the media says and they don't care. And that's awesome. And so CNN was freaking out that the title of this article and news broadcast from CNN is, "It's crystal clear that drunk people can't socially distance." And look at these announcers just, I can't believe it. I cannot believe people went out and had some drinks.
Londoners took advantage of pubs and restaurants reopening for the first time since March with apparently no respect for social distancing guidelines. This was the scene in the famous Soho district of the West End Saturday. You can see the street packed with people standing close together with no face coverings. CNN's Anna Stewart joins me live from London. This has been a long wait for many people, and that scene right there is certainly not what probably health officials were wanting to see.
Well, this is certainly what people were concerned about. For the most part, in England yesterday, as it was eased out of its hibernation, people did behave responsibly, getting their first haircut, sitting in restaurants, getting a pint inside a pub for the first time in over 3 months. As you can see there, though, there were incidences of overcrowding in some places in central London last night. No social distancing appearing to be taken heed of there, and also some incidents outside of London as well. I want to show you a tweet from a policeman in Hampshire, a county in the southeast of England. He said, what was crystal clear is that drunk people can't/won't socially distance. It was a busy night, but the shift managed to cope. I know other areas have had issues with officers being assaulted. Now I'm heading home. To those still on shift, please stay safe.
And of course, CNN also is just beside itself that some people went to the beach.
As Americans gathered in online forums to remember the fallen on this Memorial Day, many others met in person, willing to push boundaries on this weekend that marks the start of summer.
Everybody's going to come back and say you shoulda, coulda, woulda. But you know what? The reality of it is, at the end of the day, I think we're all responsible for our own actions.
In Alabama, crowds pack the sand, many ignoring social distancing. In Southern California, this beach sits mainly empty, and visitors are wearing masks. But just a short drive away, California hikers packed this canyon, shoulder to shoulder.
This is just not good. It's too many people in one little area.
Meanwhile, some people are still trying to, sort of entrepreneurs. I have nothing against them. I have nothing against the guy who came up with that face mask that puts your own face on the mask. He's just trying to make a buck and sell brainwash people on stuff they don't need. But that's fine. If they're that stupid, sell them whatever they want. That's really the whole point of the free market, is give everyone exactly what they want. Many times it's stupid, but that's just the way it is. But here's a restaurant in Tarrington, St. John, I think in England, where he's created these pods where you can just totally sit by yourself in a pod if you want. It's kind of weird. We're at this point where a lot of people are really just are waking up and a lot of people aren't. And just watching it all is pretty funny. And I have well, first of all, I should mention Max Egan. He's had 7 of his last 9 videos taken down. So he's beating us right now. So basically the way it is in today's world is, it appears the more truth you speak in general, you can actually show that by the amount of videos you've had taken down. So Max is currently beating me. I guess I'm not telling as good of a job of the truth as Max lately. But, you know, you really have to question some of these sort of truth channels on YouTube that never get anything deleted. Mexico's just pretty much normal now. But really, if you see, if there's a sort of a truth website or channel and none of the videos ever get taken down, you have to really wonder, are they really saying anything that is a threat to the system? Probably not. And here's a poem written by a guy named Gary Voss. I thought it was really good. And it's about 4 or 5 minutes long. So if you don't really like it or whatever, feel free to fast forward, but I thought it was really good.
This poem goes out to the handful, relatively small number in comparison with 7 billion people in the world, but this goes out to all those globalists in the world, or that small group of globalists in the world, that have divided us and conquered us for so long, and who are trying to do so more than ever now. I hope I don't make any mistakes for you. I'll try not. But here's my poem, The Right to Hate. You tell me what I can't say. You censor what I can. You say I'm offensive because I believe my eyes, and I say I see a woman, not a man. You call me thick and racist for not wanting to be a part of a rich man's club in Europe, or a global new world order with no soul or guts or heart. You throw at me the slave trade. You tell me my 4-year-old grandson is to blame. You point your branding, accusing, intolerant fingers and tell me to hang my head in shame. I'm free to have opinions as long as they fall in line with yours. I can fly my banners high and proud as long as you support that cause. You have to be right all the time. Yours is the only way. I have to like the things you like, be they black, trans, left or gay. It makes no difference if I tell you I'm not the things for which you accuse, 'cause once you've made up your closed off minds, I'm always gonna lose. I have black friends, so you're still a racist, homophobic, but I've shared beds with gay men. I'm an anti-Semite, but the Rothschilds is the richest banking family in this world, and that's got nothing to do with them being Jewish and everything to do with them being multi-billionaires. Really do influence the dollar, pound and yen. You sip your Pinot Grigio in trendy bars down in the smoke, looking down your noses with loathsome contempt at billions of working class folk. Well, I've come here to tell you that you have had your time, 'cause the winds of change are blowing and bells of freedom soon will chime, 'cause my class, my fucking class, are waking up and stirring, and we're going to peacefully attack. We're going to breach those PC walls of segregation that have divided gay, straight, white and black. I've got no malice in my heart. I don't judge people on their sex or creed or race. I don't speak ill of absolute cunts behind the backs, not even the bloke who murdered me dad. I just tell them to the face. So to all you branding progressive liberals who won't allow debate, I hate no man or woman. I just want the right to hate. I want the right to hate like I want the right to love. I want to like and dislike what I want to like and dislike and be able to vocalise it, bruv. I'm not responsible for slavery, and I'm not taking any blame. 'Cause the white privilege built on black slavery you say that I enjoy, well, Beyonce, Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, Rihanna, Floyd Mayweather, Alicia Keys, Jamie Foxx, Barack Obama, et al. All enjoy the same. Beyonce spent $87 million on a house just through shaking that ass, while me and our lass sit at home lamenting about ways to pay the fucking gas. And I don't see too much white privilege in a system that lets East European refugees or wounded soldiers live in cardboard boxes. Why do Black Lives Matter and progressives fail to see not all white folks live in stately homes chasing fucking foxes? And I'm not homophobic, transphobic, racist or anything phobic, you see, because I don't fear sex or race or gender. I just won't bow down to your PC. Don't confuse my use of slang with racism and bigotry. Don't confuse my rejection of your shite with spite. Don't naturally assume I'm thick and racist because I'm northern working class. I'm not. I'm articulate, sharp and bright. And I will not walk a minefield every time I open my mouth to speak. And I will not apologise for things I've glibly said or spoken tongue-in-cheek. So shape up or fuck off for your madness. Because I'm going to bring you down. I'm going to bring working class people, all people together, Muslim, Christian, white and brown. I'm going to bring those globalist walls of Jericho crashing round your brainwashed progressive liberal feet. And I'm going to blow my loving, inclusive, un-PC fanfare. And your communist, fascist, capitalist, socialist, left, right, Catholic, Protestant, Muslim, Christian, black, white, gay, straight, male, female, leave, remain, Republican, Democrat, afraid of COVID-19, unafraid of COVID-19, north, south, divides I will defeat. You globalists, you've divided us and conquered us for way too long. You've taken the piss out of us, and you've laughed at us, and you've shared the benefits at the top. Well, I've come back to this northern working class shrine in my hometown of Redcar to tell you, now really is the time for your shit to fucking stop. Peace. Now I slowed that down because apparently I've got an American audience too. And we want it to go over there. We want this poem to go all over the world. It's not a poem of hate. It's a poem of tolerance. It's a poem of people coming together. It's a poem of people loving each other and disregarding the old way, the way that's kept us down and downtrodden for so long. I ask you, share this poem as far as you can. I don't know if Facebook have taken it down or not. I'm going to go up to County Durham now to see this bloke who made the post, uploaded this thing in the first place 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But I'm gonna go and see him. But if Facebook have taken it down, then let's keep on going. Let's share it some more. Let's show them that that we won't be beaten. Let's go. Come together. Share this post. Share the life out of this post. Thanks very much. God bless you and bye.
All right, it's starting to really rain here. So I'm gonna head under some shelter here. I did want to mention, I mentioned I was going to talk about some of the answers for how society could be. And also I want to just mention, maybe we should go inside, Lucy. I'm sorry it was a bit of a short walk today, Lucy. Yeah, just hasn't been my week really. It was 4 days there with just no walking talks whatsoever, and now it's raining. Let's go inside to see my friend. Oh, door's locked. Yeah, this isn't our day at all. Okay, let's try this door. Oh, this one's locked too. It really isn't our week, Lucy. Well, here come all the dogs, though. All right. Gracias. It's Lucy. Let her, Bruce. Let her in. All right. So we're gonna have to finish this up inside. I'm sorry, Lucy. But we got Bruce. That's my ball, Bruce. We've been Bruce. But some of the things we talked about at the TV Summit, it's pretty amazing that people like Doug Casey, who's like well into his 70s. Yes, you might go. I'm sorry, Lucy, I'll make it up to you this week, I think. One of the things he mentioned in the TDV Summit was how he's been spending a lot of this time under basically lockdown. He couldn't really travel, improving himself. So he's been taking, he said, online courses. You know, this is a guy who already is super smart. Oh, got some hummingbirds here. All right, we got some good hummingbird action. Yeah, there we go. So that is you know, I keep missing them. There we go. Yeah, I'll just keep the camera on them for a bit. But that's one thing that everyone should be doing, is really just working on yourself. Wow, they can really tell when the camera's on them. As soon as I turn the camera away, they'll come here. But there was so much good, insightful information in the TDV Summit about what you could be doing right now. Not only just how to profit, but how to improve your life dramatically. And so many people had so many great things on that. There's a cute little one. Yeah, they're so cute. See if I can get close. Yeah, you're so cute. And then some of the other hummingbirds chase them away sometimes. They're very territorial. But anyway, I just wanted to mention a lot of great information in the TDV Summit, not just about investing, not just about buying gold or cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, but how to improve your life dramatically. And really it's mostly about working on yourself, a lot of this stuff. So check it out, because there's a lot of good info on there from a lot of great people. You can just go to tdvsummit.com. I'm just going to keep it on the hummingbirds here. But I do want to finish up with it was on the channel Anarchast, which is my old show, which is now run by Patrick Smith. And they did something called the Declaration of Individual Independence. And this is really the only way we will ever have a decent society, is if we have essentially people understanding voluntarism, or that there's really only one rule. The hummingbird's kind of gone away a little bit. Oh, by the way, this is a great painting. I bought this for 1 Bitcoin at the, I think it was 2 years ago in Acapulco. Pretty cool. And really, the more that people understand this, it's the only way we're going to have a decent world. So what I would suggest is go to the Anarchast channel and please subscribe. They don't get anywhere near the views that they should. They're heavily shadow banned. Really, all these people get all these Black Lives Matter, communists, crony capitalists. They get all their views put out there constantly, and that's all that's really taught in a lot of schools. The one thing that's never taught to anyone is voluntarism, which, as I said, just means everything in life should be voluntary, and people should not stand for anything that isn't voluntary. So if anyone's using violence, like to rob you or to make you do things, that should not be something looked upon as legitimate. And any strong people in society should be trying to protect people, including themselves, from other people aggressing. And of course, government is not voluntary, and they force people to do things. And anything that you ever force people to do things always will turn out badly. So I'll leave it here. Like I said, check out the TDV Summit, tdvsummit.com. Great information. It's 2 full days of awesome stuff. I can pretty much guarantee you, it will improve your life dramatically. And in the meantime, go over to the Anarchast channel, hit like and subscribe on this video. We'll have the link down below, but I'm going to play the entire thing here. What these people are saying, and almost all of these people are friends of mine, is what I believe. And if the rest of the world could ever understand what they are saying in this video, then we will have peace and prosperity on earth. Until then, it's going to be non-stop chaos and horror. So the sooner we can get people to understand this, the better. So please share this. We'll also have this on our TDV clips, probably. And also, please just share the Anarchast video if you really like what they say on it. I'm going to play the whole thing here, though, because I want as many people to see it as possible. So I'll leave it there. And I'll leave it with Lucy.
Yeah, it just hasn't been our week. 4 days, no walking chalk. And then today was only a half walking chalk. Well, at least we got some tacos, and hopefully we can get in some good walks next week. In the meantime, check out this video.
In freedom, forever. The Universal Declaration of the Individual. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for a person to dissolve the political bands which have chained them in subservience
to a non-consensual government, and to assume among their fellow humans
the separate and equal station to which their self-ownership entitles them,
a decent respect to the opinions of mankind
requires that they should declare the causes that impel them to the separation. I hold these truths to be self-evident.
I hold these truths to be self-evident.
I hold these truths to be self-evident.
That all rational beings are created equal.
That all rational beings are created equal.
That all rational beings are created equal. Whether endowed by nature or their creator, they possess free will.
The ability to conceptualize and actualize a preferred state.
And a capacity for agency, self-determination, and reciprocity.
For agency, self-determination, and reciprocity.
A respect for which requires mutual agreement to hold one's consent sacrosanct and inviolate.
That from this respect flow unalienable rights, among which are life, liberty, and self-ownership.
That to secure these rights, no government,
no person or group of people
which violate the consent of another
may be suffered to exist.
Whenever any such entity becomes destructive of these ends,
it is the right of the person to withdraw their consent, defend against, and abolish it.
And abolish it.
And abolish it.
Mankind's ability to suffer injustice,
seemingly infinite when faced with danger, nourishes well these governments that stand to attack me for mine own safety.
Their centuries-long histories of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably more involuntary power, evinces their true nature of absolute despotism.
It is my right.
It is my right.
It is my right.
It is my right to throw off such a government.
To throw off such government.
To choose to suffer their evils no longer, and to provide new guards for my future security.
Such has been the patient suffering of myself.
And such is now the necessity which constrains me
to abolish their former systems of involuntary government.
Involuntary government.
The history of these governments is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations,
all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over me and my property.
In evidence of this, let the following facts be submitted to a candid world.
That some of the tyrannical evils I have suffered under be known to all. They have forbidden me to freely and peacefully associate with and disassociate from other humans of my choosing in whatever means I deem appropriate,
both in business and matrimony.
They have ignored and trampled down my consent in all matters in which I may find myself the minority or the sole dissenter,
affording no capacity to opt not be a part of their edicts.
They, absent any existing victim, as a matter of course,
threaten, accost, extort, rob, injure,
and even murder innocent humans
where no damaged party is to be found.
They, in the name of protecting children, do frequently intrude on their childhoods,
and even kidnap them from their parents and homes without severe cause, giving them to strangers,
and leaving little recourse to their rightful caretakers.
They have twisted the good nature of the very people capable of helping others by conducting a mass extortion.
A mass extortion
upon the productive, and claiming to do so in those victims' names.
Their welfare
uses the resources of some to buy political power from others while actually helping very few.
All in violation
of individual consent.
They, on pain of loss of livelihood,
force voluntary association between myself and those
that would employ me,
those that would be employed by me, and those that would form unions or choose to remain free agents.
This intolerable force,
they make a matter of course for employment relationships.
They, being unsatisfied in their tyranny here where I live,
march around the globe, grinding up human life as if it were valueless.
Their militaries creating
new enemies.
Creating new enemies that hate me.
That hate me instead of them.
And then in the ultimate insult,
claim that all they do is for my safety and freedom.
They, having the hubris
to place upon me rules regarding certain peaceful actions and property,
make sins out of them,
punishing, robbing, caging, and even murdering any
who dare defy their improper fiat.
Their every prohibition without a victim, every ban without damaged property, all infringements
upon the right of one to own one's self.
They, through the extortion that they name taxation, have so thoroughly forcefully interfered
in every single peaceful interaction and transaction.
Taken through the course of time,
that proper restitution has become utterly incalculable.
The damages and the criminal violations of sovereignty nearing infinite.
My mere existence indebts me to no one. They, unable to be other than despotic, falsely claim rightful control over my ability to peacefully travel the world. They will attack me for attempting to do so without their permission or for using means outside their approved channels. They forcefully
prevent me from obtaining security, safety, and protection outside their monopoly of abusive and dangerous law enforcers.
They establish rules by fiat that control my trade associations with those outside arbitrary lines on a map.
And euphemize and reframe theft as tariffs.
They have captured and do wrongfully control things so intimate in their nature so as to boggle the mind.
The education of our very own children isn't even free from or safe from their violent intrusions and forced oversight.
They, having no self-restraint or decency,
have a list of substances for which, if I peacefully place inside or around my person,
they will attack, rob, cage, or murder me.
To add insult to vicious injury, the law enforcers that mete out these inhumane punishments
are touted as heroes.
Touting self-proclaimed higher purposes, they routinely, in the open and without remorse, do capture and steal property of peaceful people in the name of community
through euphemisms for evil
they call eminent domain and asset forfeiture.
Through controls upon the very earth itself, they have managed little other than the plundering of the seas,
the ravaging of the coasts,
the destruction of the forests, and while proclaiming their unending intentions to the opposite, the continued defiling of the very air we breathe.
While failing to achieve their stated goals, they have retarded the progress
that free commerce and innovation offer peaceful individuals.
They, so detailed in their control over my life, rob and attack me for using my own resources to create structures on my own property without submitting to their approval, to their snake's nest of rules for how it should be done, and paying those they force to license themselves to inspect my work once it's done. They listen to my private conversations.
They listen to my private conversations. They spy on my private communications. They hijack devices I own without limit or recourse.
My expectation of privacy is completely disregarded.
They capture entire professions such that I cannot obtain vital services of lawyers, doctors,
professors, electricians, plumbers, optometrists, or even that as simple as a barber.
That does not bow before licensing, review, and controlling boards of the government.
Interfering constantly in what should be unfettered and unbiased opinions and labor I wish to pay for.
Finally, even their system for resolving disputes about their laws and their accusations of crimes is an utter failure by any measure.
Justice is far too expensive, and even when properly funded, still rarely found.
They use threats of extreme punishment to bargain for fast capitulations, admitting even false guilt. Worse still, while preventing me from choosing another system of justice, theirs grants de facto immunity
to their own agents, law enforcers, politicians, and other friends of the court.
Even when they stand accused of the most heinous crimes against humanity, murder and rape are no exception.
In every stage of these oppressions.
In every stage of these oppressions.
In every stage of these oppressions, I have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms.
In the most humble terms.
In the most humble terms. My repeated petitions have been answered only by
repeated injury.
Only by repeated injury.
A ruler, by definition, may find no free people under their rule.
May find no free people under their rule, and no government lacking my consent is fit nor just in their power.
No government lacking my consent is fit nor just in their power.
Is fit nor just in their power.
Nor have I been wanting in attentions to those that still support this government. I have informed them that their control violates my consent. I have warned them that their legislature bears no rightful jurisdiction over me.
No rightful jurisdiction over me.
I have informed them that their control violates my consent. I have warned them that their legislature
bears no rightful jurisdiction over me.
I have reminded them of the nature of my freedom and right to exist without violent controls being placed upon me.
I have appealed to their sense of justice and magnanimity,
and I have begged them to exempt me from their usurpations without demanding that they disband their own way of conducting themselves,
which constantly interfere in my connections and associations.
They too have been deaf to the voice of justice.
They too have been deaf to the voice of justice.
To the voice of justice and consanguinity. I must therefore
acquiesce in the necessity which denounces my separation, and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind,
enemies in war, in peace friends.
I, therefore, being the sole proprietor of my mind and body.
Being the sole proprietor of my mind and body.
Being the sole proprietor of my mind and body.
The sole proprietor of my mind and body.
Being the sole proprietor of my mind and body. Appealing to the rational minds of the world for the rectitude of my intentions.
Do in my name and by my sovereign authority.
Do in my name and by my sovereign authority.
Do in my name and by my sovereign authority. Solemnly publish and declare.
That this person is and of right ought to be.
That this person is and of right ought to be.
This person is and of right ought to be free and independent.
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 That I am absolved of all allegiance to this government.
And any other involuntary system or structure of control and regulation.
And that all political connection between myself and the state
is and ought to be.
Is and ought to be.
Totally dissolved.
Totally dissolved.
Totally dissolved.
Totally dissolved.
Totally dissolved. And that as a free and independent person,
I have full power to protect myself using necessary means,
contract with others, establish commerce, and to do all other acts
and things which independent people may of right do.
Which independent people may of right do.
And for the support of this declaration, I agree and pledge that by my life, my fortune, and my sacred honor,
I will hold sacrosanct
agency, consent, and property of others.
Likewise expecting, requiring, and demanding
that the same be afforded me.
I own myself.
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 Own myself.
I lead myself.
I lead myself.
I lead myself.
I lead myself.
I own myself. I lead myself.